Obviously, I need to make the cake part first, and this is an easy melt in a pan number. Beginning with 200 grams of butter, followed by 250 mils of hot water. Then I add 50 grams of cocoa, 125 grams of caster sugar, and 100 grams of soft dark brown sugar. I gently whisk everything together over very low heat until smooth. Into this melted mixture, I stir in a couple of teaspoons of vanilla before taking the pan off the heat. In a small bowl, I mix together 225 grams of plain flour, half a teaspoon of bicarb, and a teaspoon of baking powder. Okay, nearly there. I beat together 2 large eggs, then mix them into the slightly cooled pan. Then gradually whisk in the dry ingredients until absorbed, and I have a gorgeous glossy batter. I pour this into 4 shallow tier cake tins and bake for 7 minutes in a 180-degree centigrade oven or 160 fan. Though you could simply divide the mixture between 2 sandwich tins and bake for 15 to 20 minutes. Well, the cakes are made and the icing is underway. I've got 300 grams of unsalted butter and 400 grams of peanut butter whirring away in here. And now half a teaspoon of fine sea salt. I think it's quite important there is a pronounced saltiness to this icing. It's what stops it becoming cloying. And now 2 teaspoons of vanilla. I'm ready to whisk in the icing sugar now. There's 600 grams of icing sugar there, which I have sieved through gritted teeth. It's the only job I hate in the kitchen. There's a lot of sugar, a lot of butter, a lot of peanut butter, but then I am creating a beautiful monster. It looks quite thick and condensed now, but everything is going to change. And what changes it is whipping in double cream. 8 tablespoons, that's about 120 mils, one at a time. And what really makes a difference is that now that all the cream is added, I just stand back and let it carry on whisking for about 4 minutes. I love the colours of this cake. So 70s, very Bieber actually, with its golden beige and brown. Now look at this, so pale and creamy and voluminous. Time to build my tower of cakes. I do have to say something, which is when you make the 4 ultra-thin layers, you will think something's gone wrong. Look, these look thin as a burnt pancake, but that's what they're meant to be like. And when they're all layered with the icing, it will look absolutely perfect. I'm not suggesting you get a ruler out, but the idea is to dollop and then spread a layer 1 centimetre thick between all the cakes. It doesn't matter if it goes over the edges, it'll just make it easier to ice the sides later. I'm going to put this one on top. Don't be worried about running out of icing, you won't. The 3rd cake on top. Be careful because they are tender. So 1 centimetre on top, as well as in between each layer. And then the serious business of the sides. But don't be daunted. I always feel slightly overwhelmed at the beginning when I start on the sides. By the end, I almost have to have the cake prized out of my hands to make me stop. It's so moussey, it almost looks like honeycomb turned into buttercream. I am such an impatient person, but I rather love doing this. I find it calming. You just have to give yourself up to it. And remember, you're not supplying a cake shop. It doesn't have to be, you know, so perfect and with no sign of human touch. What I like about home cooking is that you see the hand. You can see that someone's been troweling their cake for a long time. Oh. I could go on smoothing for eternity, but I must stop. As Ruskin said, a work of art is never finished, it is merely abandoned. So I will abandon it. Well, maybe not quite, because whenever I finished icing it, I want to leave it smooth because I love it. It looks so beautiful. But really, this cake is at its best with a little fine scattering of chopped, dry roasted peanuts, a teeny bit of crunch. You know, I make this cake for celebrations, but the act of making it and decorating it feels like a celebration to me in itself.